Hi, this is Ms. Perez, and I'm going to be going over writing equations with you. So first, I kind of want to, before we dive into this example, let me just go over a couple things in a in a tutorial. We'll start with this page over here. We can use linear equations to model real-world situations. So that's what we're going to be doing. You've seen linear equations before. Now we're going to be taking real-world situations and making equations out of them. We can model some situations using one-step equations. For others, we need two-step equations. Now, in the previous assignment, you did see what one-step equations look like, and you did solve for two-step equations as well. So now we're going to be just dealing with them in a verbal or a written context. And there are situations for which we may even need more complex equations. Some complex equations may also have rational coefficients. More complex equations, we need repeatedly perform opposite operations on both sides of the equation. Again, this is pretty familiar to you as of now from the previous assignment. We definitely went over opposite operations and doing it on both sides of the equation. So again, this is a lot of piggybacking off from the last assignment. The only new thing that we're going to be doing with these equations is that we're creating them ourselves instead of them just being given to us. So we're going to create an equation from some context, and then we will eventually move on to solving them. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into that example. So a little refresher from the previous assignment, you maybe saw something like this, which is a one-step equation, and you'd be able to solve that, or you might have seen something like this. Again, a one-step equation, and you can solve for it. So what we're going to do is we're going to be creating these. We're going to be creating these equations based off of a text. Okay. Okay. So let's go ahead and read this. Paul says he is 5 inches shorter than 2 times Teresa's height. Now, it's a lot of numbers and math in one itty bitty sentence, but if we break it down with what we know, it really isn't that difficult. So let me bring over this word symbols chart, which I think is going to be very helpful when you're doing this. Oops. Okay. So words to symbols. So this chart is also in your assignment. It gives you all these words which you would use for addition. All these words you're going to use for subtraction, multiplication, and division. So let's go ahead and try and use this chart. One word that's not in here that you're going to be using over and over is this magic word is. Um, Let me actually move this somewhere else really quick. Maybe I can move it down here. Well, anyways, this right here, this magic word is. I'm gonna circle it in red. Okay. So this is saying Paul is. Okay. So whenever you see this is word, it's usually equal. So Paul equals. Now, whatever we have over here, which is Paul, let's just give it a variable. Let's say Paul is P. Okay. Paul is. Paul equals. So see how these things kind of match? That's really all you're doing. You're going to be matching words to symbols. Okay, so Paul is, okay. Now I'm going to underline each part, each piece. And I would say that's step one. If you're taking notes on this video, really step one, uh, when you're reading it, would be to identify the unknown. What is the unknown? What don't we know? Paul says he is 5 inches shorter than 2 times Teresa's height. Well, Teresa's height, I would say, is the unknown right here. Teresa, what we're talking about, Teresa's height. Okay, in step two, after we figured out that, step two, and we could give it a label. We'll just say T. Teresa's T. Step two would be to break down information. Break down info. Okay, so let's get another color. I'll do green. Um, 5 inches shorter than. So that's one piece of information. It's 5 inches shorter than. Okay, how do we write 5 inches shorter than? Well, if we go to my little chart right here and we look, I do see a less than. There's no shorter than, but there's a less than. And we know if you're shorter than somebody else, you're taking away. So shorter than, I would say, goes towards less than, right? Less than, and the operation we're going to be using is subtraction. So less than is minus. Okay. So minus 5. Okay. Now let's get another color. And the other piece of information is 2 times Teresa's height. 2 times Teresa's height. So anytime you see, oh, it was twice the size or 3 times the size, literally it is telling you what operation to use, right? Times. I don't even, let's see if it's on here. Oh yeah, it is times right here. So times means multiplication. So that's what we're going to be using. That's what operation we're going to be using. And you'll see this a lot in this assignment and the following assignment after this. 3 times blank, 4 times blank. Anytime you see that, it's literally just that number times the unknown variable, which in this case is the t. So this all right here is 2t. 2 times Teresa's height means 2 times Teresa's height. And when we write it like this, we want to write our number and our variable close together. Okay, we want to smush them together. Whenever a number and a letter are smushed together like this, whatever the number is or whatever the letter is, whenever they're smushed together really, really close, the operation is multiplication. Multiplication, multiplication. So that's how we're going to start writing it. We're in an algebra, coming to an algebra class. So we're going to start writing our variables and numbers smushed together to represent multiplication. Okay. So Paul is 5 inches shorter than 2 times Teresa's height. So we're going to write 2 times Teresa's height like this. 5 inches shorter than 2 times Teresa's height. And notice on this chart at the bottom, let me just show you down here. Remember that the words from, than, and into will change the order of the expression, of how the expression is written. So that applies here. So let me move this down for you and just kind of show you what I mean. So if I were just to write this out, the way I see it, right, I would say, well, there's a P, there's an is, there's a 5 inches shorter than, so, we'll say subtract 5, I guess, and then 2 times Teresa's height, which would be 2t, right? And we'd have to put something there, so it'd be plus. It really, the order of this kind of, you could flip flop it. See? So we put the 2t in the front and the minus 5 in the back. So 5 inches shorter than 2 times Teresa's height. So we want to write it like this if we can. Okay? That shorter than, that than word right here changes the order. So we kind of flopped it around. Okay. If you're, like I said, if you're writing notes on this, on the next one, I'll slow down a bit so we can kind of see how we should be writing notes on this. Okay. So let me get rid of this. So there's our first example. And notice this is a two-step equation. We just created a two-step equation. You've seen something very similar to this, with in the previous assignment as two-step equations go. Okay. So right now we're not going to solve it like we've been doing. We're just going to create them. Okay. So the next one, let's see. Let me write the next one, which is. Okay. So. Okay. Michael Jordan is 18 inches taller than Ariana Grande. Okay. Now you can later go check to make sure that this is accurate. You know, you can Google how tall Michael Jordan is. You can Google how tall Ariana Grande is, and see if this is right. Michael Jordan is 18 inches taller than Ariana Grande. Now, just thinking about it, do you think this is right, or is it too much? You know, you guess and figure it out later. It's, you know, might be interesting. So okay, let's figure this out. Let's break this down. Okay, so for notes' sake, you have, you know, on your piece of paper or on your Google Doc, what I would like you to do, I'm a big fan of I'm a big fan of Cornell Notes, or you know, um, having your piece of paper like this and you know, writing, having a line in between it and having, you know, questions here and then the work here. I like it for studying. This isn't the right way to do notes or the wrong way to do notes. It's just a way to do notes. So in here, let's go ahead. What I would do is I would take this and I would put it right here. Now, the most important thing you're going to do is you have to write the directions. Have the directions. This says directions right here. Actually, I could actually type that in. Directions. Directions. So have the directions there, and I'll put the directions actually up here too. Okay, so the directions are write an equation from the given situation. Okay, it's really important in your notes to have those directions because you want to be able what you're taking notes for. Yes, it's for practice, but it's also to reference during a test. If you can match what you have in your notes with a question on a test, then you have a way. So you don't have to memorize everything. You can compare and be like, oh, you know what? This question I have on a test is very similar to a question I have in my notes. So that's what we're doing. If you have the directions there, it's much easier to pair those questions together and use them. So on this question side, have the directions and then have the actual question, which I'm not going to rewrite in this little teeny box, but the question, you can see the question over on this side, which is question. Here we go. Okay, and then your work over here, you want to put it over here. So I would go ahead and rewrite this whole thing over here. And then people that are doing Google Docs, go ahead and retype it on this side. Michael Jordan is 18 inches taller than Ariana Grande. So when you have it on this side, now let's go ahead and break this down. So our first step, step 1. Right over here. So all this is, I'm going to put all of this stuff right here is where you should put the work. So first step, step 1. Identify an unknown. And for these ones right now, it's going to be after. See how this is after this is, and that's just in this case right now. These are pretty simple real world situations. So our unknown right here is this Ariana Grande. Right, Michael Jordan is, and what is he? Well, he's 18 inches than Ariana Grande. We don't know how tall Ariana Grande is, so we can represent her with Ariana Grande is A. Okay, so Ariana is A. Equals A. Okay. Now our step 2 is just, like before, step 2, break down information. All right, so we have Michael Jordan is. I'm just go ahead and type that over here. Okay, so how do we break down that? Well, let's give Michael Jordan a letter. So, oops. Let's say he's M. Okay. Well, we know our is an equal sign, right? So let's break that down. Equals. Okay, now let's see what the rest of this is. Is 18 inches taller than Ariana Grande. Okay. 18 inches taller than. So if we go back to that sheet, you might, there's not a taller than here, but there is a more than, right? Taller than, more than. So the operation, or the operation that we're going to be using is addition, plus. So 18 inches taller than, whoops. No, I don't want to use blue. So 18 inches taller than, and again, there's this than sign. So what does our than say? Remember that the words from, then, and into will change the order of the expression as written. So right now we have 18 inches. If we went directly down, we'd have 18, taller than, this taller than is the plus A. But because it says that than, let's switch these. Let's, flip them around. Okay, so just take note of that. That word then kind of flips the order of what you're not going to directly put it underneath. You're going to kind of flip them. So it's 18 inches taller than our Ariana Grande. M equals A plus 18. Michael Jordan is 18 inches taller than Ariana Grande. Okay, so all of this stuff right here should be in this work area on your page. In a Google Doc, you can make columns or you can insert a table to make 2 columns, right? And then when you're finished, just click insert new row, and it'll create a new row down here so you can put another direction and question. And you just keep doing that for your notes, directions and questions, examples. Math notes should be full of examples, okay? So let's see, what other ones do we have? Okay, we'll do one more. So let's see. Directions, create an equation and question is, okay, so Justin Bieber, let's see, has 17 less than 9 times the number of coins Selena, I know they're not together anymore, but here we go. Selena Gomez has. All right. So lots of words in one little sentence, but all we got to do is step 1, break down the information, or sorry, step 1, find the the unknown. Step 2, and for right now, it's after this is or I guess has is this this part. So let's go ahead and put in our step 1. Label the unknown. Step 2, break down information. Okay, so let's label this unknown, which is after, our initial part, Justin Bieber is or Justin Bieber has. So that's this Selena Gomez over here. So we can just say she's S. Okay? So S. Selena equals S. Okay. So now step 2, we're just going to break down the information. So let me just go ahead and retype this because I haven't figured out how to copy and paste yet. Justin Bieber is 17 less than 9 times the number of coins Selena has. Okay. So here's just magic, or oops, has, not is, but same usage. Has, is. Okay, so we're gonna break this down. So we have a Justin Bieber, which we'll say is J, and then we have a has, which we're gonna say is equals, and then 17 less than. That's all we're gonna deal with right now. 17 less than. Well, we have a less than here. It has a little asterisk. Why does it have asterisk? Well, remember that the words from, then, and into will change the order of how the expression is written. So we're not going to write it right underneath here. It's going to be probably over here, and this thing over here is going to, it's going to change the order of these 2 pieces. So let's figure out the other piece too. I'm going to just kind of circle it before we move on. So let's circle it purple, 9 times the number of coins Selena has. So let's go back over here. Okay. So 17 less than. So we know less than is subtraction. We know that it's because it's a then. It's going to change the order. So it's going to be, minus 17 way over here. We're going to put it way over there. Okay. And then we're going to put this piece 9 times the number of Selena. So 9 times is literally just 9 right here times, right? Times what? Well, times Selena. And what did we say Selena was? S. 9 times S. So we're not going to write it like that though, right? We're going to smush our number and letter really close together to make it look like multiplication. So, and yeah, so we're going to stick this piece over here. So we kind of flip-flopped them, and that's according to this. All these little asterisks right here, you're going to have to flip-flop something, right? You're going to have to change the order of what it's expressed and not just drop it directly underneath. Okay, so yeah, your expression at the end is just J equals 9S minus 17. Justin Bieber is or has uh, 17 less than 9 times the number of coins Selena has, right? Okay. Hopefully this was useful and broke down a couple of them. It really, what is most difficult about these real world situations is just knowing your vocabulary and being able to break these things down. Because yeah, it sounds kind of complicated when you say it out loud, in one whole sentence. But if you just break down each piece, circle it, underline it, bring it, and just pair it to what symbol it represents. These can be, pretty easy. You just have to slow down and not don't panic, okay? Um, but yeah, that's kind of what you're going to be doing for this rest of this assignment for these 6 questions. So good luck. If you need any help, you can contact a teacher. Save this words to symbols somewhere. You can take a screenshot or ask a teacher for it, so you can stick it in your notes. You may copy it, pause this video, copy it down. But if you're not familiar with what words, what words translate to what symbols, definitely study this. Get used to this or write it down so you can use this in the future. Okay, because the next tile continues on this. You will be creating more equations from real world context. Okay, so it doesn't just end after this assignment. The next assignment you have to build equations off of words. Okay. So, like I said, hopefully this helped. And if you need any more assistance, please contact a math teacher. Thank you.